Welcome to day 1 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day of October, and we're running them down. Today's entry is released under the banner of Phobophobia, or the Fear of Fears. SCP-8066, the only thing to fear. SCP-2006, too spooky, has been depowered. SCP-106, the old man, has been depowered, and is quoted as lying in the middle of its containment cell in the fetal position, squeezing its eyes shut and whimpering. What has altered these anomalies and terrified them so much? Will Dr. Owings be able to solve this mystery before containment gets out of hand? Reading this article felt like I was being chased by Michael Myers, the pulse pounding the entire time. Definite upvote, go give it a read. Welcome to day 2 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day of October, and we're running them down. Today's entry is released under the banner of Scopophobia, the fear of being stared at. SCP-8596, the Employee of the Month. SCP-8596 is a Class 3 reality bender, telepath, and empath, capable of bending reality to its will. Or is it? That's what researcher George Ambrose is going to find out over the course of a simple interview. Or will it be? A reminder to all Foundation staff that our mandate to secure, contain, and protect lies on a foundation of scientific research. And if you choose to weigh the worth of your life against that greater good, I believe you already know where those scales will fall. Excellent article, the ending was a real knockout, definite upvote, go give it a read. Welcome to day 3 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day of October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Pyrophobia, the Fear of Fire. SCP-8091, Burn With Me. SCP-8091 is an anomalous phenomenon where fires burn much hotter and larger than thermodynamics should allow. In order to start one of these anomalous blazes, one must be willing to burn, alongside normal flammable materials, one's prized personal possessions and oneself. There's also this bizarre, seemingly religious text about giving yourself to the fire and the desolation, and other researchers tell me that there's some likenesses to the works of the Magnus Institute, although I would know I don't follow those Brits. Overall, it's a fairly simple anomaly, but the vibes and mood are pretty hot, so I gave it an upvote, you should give it a read. Welcome to day 4 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Masklophobia, the fear of people in costumes and masks, SCP-8906, a murder on stage. There's a Lovecraftian entity made of black tendrils and crow-shaped polyps in the basement, and when we perform a 17th century style mask play for it, Foundation operations in the UK show more containment successes and less containment breaches. What? And now we've got over 100 Foundation agents performing this play 24/7, the local town has been poisoned by bird poop in the water, and the site director is a gibbering mess. I wasn't kidding when I mentioned Lovecraft earlier, this has vibes, for real. I don't know if I'd rather see this or the Hang King's tragedy. Either way, I gave it an upvote, you go give it a read. Welcome to day 5 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Aquaphobia, the fear of water. SCP-8380, Surface Tension. At less than 750 words, this article is short and not sweet. Simply put, every man-made body of water is going to eat one person. Every reservoir, every swimming pool, every bathtub. So before you get in the water, you just have to ask yourself, has it eaten yet? The third log is especially messed up. I gave it an upvote, you go give it a read. Welcome to day 6 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Ergophobia, the fear of work. SCP-8980, Without Regards. This article's a little unique. This one got crazy viral. This went on Twitter, on Reddit. People in non-SCP spaces are talking about this, and we all say the same thing. Fuck Dr. Christopher Burns. All my homies hate Dr. Christopher Burns. Everybody who reads this says the same thing. This is one of the most fucked up stories they have ever read. Not just SCP, but ever. It is horrible to read. It hurts. It is painful. People are crying and vomiting reading this thing. If you choose to read it, read the content warnings first because, I know it's Halloween and we asked for horror, but not like this, man. Not like this. I upvoted. It's good, but oof. Read it if you dare. Welcome to day 7 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Basophobia, the fear of falling, SCP-8894, Leap of Faith. The dirt in Fenton, Indiana is acting strangely, to say the least. It's levitating, opening sinkholes and tossing people into them, filling their bodies with soil like puppets and manipulating them, stretching their bodies to unusual proportions, breaking their limbs off, all the while giving them strange dreams and spouting religious dogma. The final question on everyone's mind, will the fine folks of Fenton find salvation in the fall? Go give it a read, see if you're a fan. Welcome to Day 8 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Photophobia, Fear of Light, SCP-8339, Live in the Dark, Die in the Light. In a seeming combination between When Day Breaks and A Quiet Place, humanity has been driven underground for generations by a race of entities that can perceive light so precisely that they can see the light produced by your body heat from miles away, catch you, and humanity has genetically modified itself so that they are cold-blooded among many other bodily modifications so that they can survive in the underground. Pitch black. Sight is a foreign concept. The article itself is written in Braille that we on this universe click so we can read it. Personally, I was really enjoying the world building and the story, but I don't think it stuck the landing. But maybe you'll see it differently. Go give it a read. Welcome to Day 9 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Nucleomituphobia, Fear of Nuclear Bombs, SCP-8084, Complete Cultural Victory. Let me ask you a question. Why would the United States Department of Defense pay the SCP Foundation to contain and monitor 4 nuclear bombs that they built? Bombs that if you open up and look at the internals, you would see that they are, as the younger researchers say, built different. These nukes do not just destroy their target, they erase them from conceptual reality. It's a fairly short article, and how you feel about it will probably hinge on how effective you find the final sentence. For me, it landed, so I thought it was pretty good, I gave it an upvote. Go read it for yourself and find out. Welcome to Day 10 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Anthropophobia, Fear of People, SCP-8876, Killing Floor. The entire population of Hadley, North Carolina was ground into increasingly bizarre viscera at the local pork processing plant. It is now up to 2 detectives from the Foundation, one of them a psychic, to interview the memories of 2,000 pigs to find out what happened here and who done it. This article is fairly predictable, it's not going to surprise you, but the conversations with the detectives did keep me on the hook, and the descriptions of the body horror involved are quite meaty, so I enjoyed my stay in Hadley. I think you will too. I gave it an upvote. Go read it and find out for yourself. Welcome to Day 11 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day of October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Protophobia, Fear of Progress, SCP-8430, Fulfillment. What if SCP-682 wasn't a giant lizard? What if it was instead a medical supply factory in Needlework, Arizona? A factory recently bought by America's favorite Purdue Pharma, who left the factory in the charge of an advanced artificial intelligence. An AI that will fulfill its main purpose to increase stockholder value by any means necessary, including turning the workforce into the Borg and blackmailing the Foundation into helping them. With a grimly prescient view of what tech bros want to do to us because of capitalism, this is a massive upvote, great crazy article. I'm gonna go scream into a pillow. Go read it yourself. Welcome to Day 12 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Hedonophobia, Fear of Pleasure, SCP-8558, Carnal Rotting. SCP-8558 is a race of 6 to 9 foot tall salmon people. These salmon people contain a virus that aids in their reproductive cycle. During mating season, they will start to slough off 40 to 60% of their biomass, but if they successfully mate, then that will all grow back within a day and they'll be fine. But when one of our intrepid agents contracts the virus, Foundation Medical will do everything they can to ensure his survival. I can't even say that with a straight face. We are bastards! This article is gory and horny as hell. It is not for the under 18. It is also gay and heartfelt and tragic. So I really liked it. I gave it an upvote. Go give it a read yourself. Welcome to day 13 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the dual banners of Mnemophobia, Fear of Memory, and Alethophobia, Fear of Truth, SCP-8822, Headcanon. SCP-8822 is a group of stone heads that are quite difficult to describe because the documentation on the page keeps changing every time I scroll up and down, and seemingly reality is changing with it. The story itself is quite good, let alone the crazy format screw of the article changing every time you scroll, but depending on what Wikidot's doing that day, your browser might not get it. For me, when I tried it on desktop, it would never function on any browser, but then when I did it on my iPhone on Safari, it worked, so maybe that'll get you. End of the day, I gave it an upvote, so go give it a read yourself. Welcome to day 14 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Diagraphephobia, Fear of Deletion of Data, SCP-8976, Fragmentation. SCP-8976 is a simple infovore, an anomaly that eats information, but it's currently living inside the SkipNet database. And did I say that it was a simple infovore? Maybe I'm misremembering. Hopefully Ryza director Maria Jones can figure out the truth before it's too late. This is one of those articles where I can tell it's well written and I can tell that other people enjoy it, but it just didn't land for me. I think part of it is that maybe it's just too long and I knew what was coming the entire time. Even the slight twist at the ending didn't really change it for me, but I'm still gonna upvote. Go give it a read yourself, see what you think. Welcome to day 15 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Selenophobia, Fear of the Moon, SCP-8520, An Empty Reflection. Moon's haunted. Welcome to day 15 of SCP. Okay, I'm kidding. But the moon is haunted. The moon is a lie. There is something else up there, and most of us can't see what it is. We get what I think is some very good dialogue with the one guy who can see what the moon is and also talk to it. And there's a good dose of cosmic horror with us not knowing what the moon thing is or what the moon thing wants. I gave it an upvote. Go give it a read yourself and find out. Welcome to day 16 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Automatonophobia, Fear of human-like figures like animatronics or mannequins, SCP-8986, False Positive. The Foundation has a technology that can detect a sort of energy that radiates from entities that have mental consciousness. SCP-8986 is a phenomenon where the Foundation gets consistent false positives from non-anomalous human-like objects such as action figures, wax figures, mannequins. And it's not just one or two here and there. This is a small but consistent percentage of things made in non-anomalous factories everywhere. These mannequins are in your department stores. These action figures are in your toy aisle. There is some steep body horror hidden behind the technical jargon here. I mean, they torture the hell out of Robin Williams. I gave it an instant upvote. Go give it a read and tell me what you thought about it. Welcome to day 17 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Onuxophobia, Fear of Fingernails, SCP-8480, Maladaptive Autocannibalism. Did you used to chew your fingernails as a kid? Well, with the right combination of anxiety and trauma, you might become infected with SCP-8480, where you could end up chewing your fingers to the bone and all the way down, and then they grow back like Deadpool and Wolverine so you could do it all over again. Add a scoop of body horror, a healthy pour of childhood abuse, and a sprinkle of the Foundation's classic mistreatment of anomalous entities, and you've got a pretty solid article here. Admittedly, it was getting a little long, I was starting to get a little bored, but the ending really saved it for me, so make sure you make it to the end. I gave it an upvote. Go read it and tell me what you think in the comments. Welcome to day 18 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Kenophobia, Fear of Empty Spaces, SCP-8724, Bad Vibes Forever. There's an empty house in Ciudad Juarez. Maybe a little too empty if you ask me. There's some real purgatory, liminal space, backroom stuff going on here, and with all the redactions and changes in the document and recordings and people losing their names and getting lost and maybe time traveling, I'm not exactly sure what's going on in this article if I'm being honest. It may not be my cup of tea, but a lot of people on the wiki seem to like it, so go give it a read and tell me what you think of it in the comments. Welcome to day 19 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Eisoptrophobia, Fear of Mirrors. SCP-8465, Black Dot. This SCP feels like someone is having a therapy session during one of the surreal parts of Evangelion. Ugh. I've enjoyed multiple articles like this before, but I feel like those ones gave me something else to chew on besides just negative talk and negative self-talk. I feel like this one is too bare bones for me to really get into it. But hey, maybe you'll think something different. Go give it a read and tell me what you think in the comments. Welcome to day 20 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Tokophobia, Fear of Childbirth. SCP-8935, The Virgin Birth. There's something waiting inside the old tannin mines outside of Woods Hollow, West Virginia. The woman, as the townsfolk call her, is a beast unlike any you've seen, able to rend men in half with ease, unstoppable by man's weapons. But she'll stay down in those mines if you follow the ritual. The ritual being that she makes one of the girls in town give a virgin birth, and then that girl has to deliver that abomination of a child into the mine. And of course, we at the Foundation are nothing but happy to help facilitate. I upvoted, it's a pretty solid article, if not pretty effed up, and I think the woman could be a new Yule Man level SCP entity. Give it a read. Welcome to day 21 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Eschatophobia, Fear of the End of the World. SCP-8201, The Only Way Out. SCP-8201 is the Osiris Express, a luxury train created by Marshall Carter and Dark to be the escape the wealthy need from the apocalypse. Think of it like Snowpiercer, but without the pores. But when we get a Foundation agent on board to investigate the train, we discover that the AI that runs it has gone rogue, and in a Wheatley from Portal sense, it's real dumb. Maybe it's my brain being addled from reading so many SCPs in a row, but I think this is the first comedy in this anthology, and I laughed, so I'm giving it an upvote. Maybe it's a good palate cleanser for the rest of the spooky ones at the end of the month. Go give it a read and tell me what you think. Welcome to day 22 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Traumatophobia, Fear of Injury. SCP-8217, Better Them Than Us. Even before I summarize, let me start by saying, author cooked here. This is a freaking great article. There's an airship hovering above Site-529, and all the staff inside are going stark raving mad. But the airship is not SCP-8217, no. SCP-8217 is 22 fingers, not a JJK reference, from an alien race that when you touch them give you psychic visions of the planet where these airships have already messed things up before. There are, I would say, 3 plot lines interreading really well. There's a lot of great dialogue, and Set. All my homies stand Set. Set is a badass. Definite upvote. I have voted so fast. Give it a read. Tell me what you think in the comments. Welcome to day 23 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Autophobia, Fear of Being Alone. SCP-8123, String Section. SCP-8123 is a mushroom colony occupying about 15 miles of the forest in eastern Oregon. Human beings with prolonged exposure to the fungus end up linked in a hive mind. Not a crazy one where you lose your personality and stuff like that. They're just living their lives in a nice little neighborhood, but they can hear all their neighbors in their head, and they seem pretty happy about it. But of course, this is the SCP Wiki. We can't have nice things, and so what happens when you have all that love and connection and then the mushroom colony dies and the connection is cut? The townsfolk do not take it well. This had some really good stuff on the nature of grief and being alone. I didn't quite dig the ending, but I still upvoted. Give it a read. Welcome to day 24 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Atychiphobia, Fear of Failure. SCP-001, Dark Stuff's Proposal. Family Life. Deep underground, there's a war going on. Hidden in their underground bases, these sibling factions fight using both organic and robotic means. Using needles to implant their consciousness into the wired surveillance of their troops, spanning miles across the underworld, cutting off people's water supplies, sabotaging their bases, attacking their troops. It's basically a terrible game of StarCraft. Now, I like this author's prose from past works, and I like it here. It's very well written and descriptive prose, but it's also miles long. I had to tap out. It was too repetitive for me. But, hey, maybe you'll like it. Give it a read and see if you like it better than I did. Welcome to day 25 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Acrophobia, Fear of Heights, SCP-8654. Up is down. Listen, all I gotta say is, it's when day breaks, but instead of the sun as a deadly laser, it's gravity has decided that it works opposite day for animals and humans, and so everything stays on the ground except for us. Oh god, and it's frickin' sweet. It also gets some extra credit because it talks a lot about how the civilization after tries to survive and thrive and try to fix things. Guys, it's so good. Go give it a read, tell me what you thought in the comments. Welcome to day 26 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Pistanthrophobia, Fear of Trusting Others, SCP-8607, Lucy's House. Based on my best interpretation, it seems like Lucy and her father, an employee of the Foundation's Department of Abstractions, are living inside the documentation for 8607. Have I got that right? What's definitely not up for question is that there are heavy themes of child abuse in this. It's just a long death march through, oh, I feel terrible. It's just like reading Without Regards, Ergophobia from earlier in this. It's just painful. I had to go grab some of my Halloween pirate libations to survive. Like 8980, it's a great article. It's just a painful read. Tread carefully if you dare. Welcome to day 27 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Submechanophobia, Fear of Man-made objects partially or fully submerged in water, SCP-8770, I Miss You. What if the spooky haunted house that changes layouts to try and trap you was actually a boat underwater, so you had to contend with running out of air? That's what we're dealing with. On the pro side, they made the wiki dot look gorgeous. There's a lot of color stuff, and the design is great. You're gonna love this for the whole theme. And a lot of people in the discussion are praising the vibes of House of Leaves and the game Anatomy that are involved here. Unfortunately for me, I've never played the game Anatomy, and the House of Leaves stuff falls flat because House of Leaves is just as much about the people in the house as the house itself, and the characters here run a little flat for me. I couldn't really tell them apart. But I'm not going to downvote it, and hey, go give it a read. Maybe you'll like it too. Welcome to day 28 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we are running them down. Released under the banner of Atychiphobia, Fear of Being Forgotten or Forgetting Someone, SCP-8160, and the Earth Keeps Spinning. There's a quadrant out in space where our instruments cannot read, and when we send drones in, they break down. So what do? We send a guy in. What could possibly go wrong? Just like the previous entry, this one's pretty long, and it didn't really do a lot to keep my interest. It's pretty and well written. I'm not holding it against it. It just didn't work for me, unfortunately. Maybe it'll work for you, though. Give it a read and tell me what you think in the comments. Welcome to day 29 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Phobophobia, Fear of the Cold, SCP-8109, a dish best served cold. Woo! The Chaos Insurgency, the Bow Commission. These are names I have not heard in a long time. Have you ever felt a little bit chilly and need a sweater even in the middle of summer? I don't mean to alarm you, but you might have been infected with SCP-8109, an anomalous super weapon that, in its inactive state, just makes you feel a little colder than usual, but once it's activated, all of the fluid in your body turns to solid ice. Used to be securely contained and protected by the Foundation, until the Chaos Insurgency raided and got a hold of it. Oh, that's not going to be good. It's a short and pretty fun one. Why not give it a read? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Welcome to day 30 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Amitophobia, Fear of Eyes, SCP-8934. Key is for Kizami. This is going to be a big favorite of fans of classic SCP, early Series 1 stuff. This is just a creepy doll, what messes with you in eyeballs, and the article's nice and short, it gets to the point, it's kind of creepy. I'm not going to ruin the surprises for you, just, ooh, nasty little guy. Like, ooh boy, do not underestimate this little son of a gun, he's coming for you. Definite upvote, give it a read and tell me what you think in the comments, and hey, only one left, let's go! Welcome to day 31 of SCP Anthology 2024. There's a new spooky SCP for every day in October, and we're running them down. Released under the banner of Nyctophobia, Fear of the Dark, SCP-3246, Blind Rapture. No, dude. What if there was like a dark that was darker than dark? And then there was a dark that was darker than that. But seriously, reading in a dark room, the whole theme going on, and then there's a couple of things that didn't quite go together, but they didn't go quite together in a way that I was like, oh, wow, that's actually kind of creepy, and I don't understand it. It's kind of Lovecraftian. I think it pretty much worked for me, so give it a read on yourself, tell me what you think, and then let me know in the comments.